It's the two dudes with the attitudes, let's go. On the Friday, you know what it is, man, they came to handle biz. Two dudes with attitudes, and they came to get it in. If you wanna hear it all, yeah, you in the right place. Going through the highs and lows at a pretty calm pace. This is where they talk to all elite, Dynamite and Rampage. All the other news on your timelines or your page. Shooting star press like it's mad side down. MWO, and yeah, they here to hold it down. Had to kick a rhyme just to tell you about the show. From the TikToks or the shorts, they will bring the smoke. And yeah, it's the dudes like it's Sean and it's Diesel. Live on the Twitch, YouTube for the reviews. Show them all the love on the platform you using. 5-star rating now, there is no excuses. Welcome back or welcome for the first show. Two dudes with the attitudes, time to work, bro.
Time to work, bro.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Always time.
We're now tuned into the greatest two dudes with attitudes of wrestling podcast. And this is the AEW edition. It's all right. I sound better with that music anyway. AEW edition. Welcome back. Welcome back. Or for the first show.
That's right.
That's right. I'm taking it from Rich. I'm taking it. And I'm Mr. MWO, the dude of Wrestle Talk. And with me as always is the honorary dude. He changed his name again, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Shooting Star Press.
No longer the right-hand dude.
You're not the right-hand dude anymore.
It was too confusing. It was because I'm left-handed, but I'm on the left-hand side of the screen. But my name was the right-hand dude.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I play the hits, and I went back to what worked.
I agree. And we had an AEW week, did we not? We did our WWE one earlier, and we had a lot of negatives, which was weird. That's usually our AEW edition. Yeah. We might actually have more positives for AEW, to believe it or not. And I still thought it was a pretty whack week for wrestling. But let's start it off. Rampage, believe it or not, was not really a whack week. I thought Rampage was actually kind of star heavy. We had some stars on Rampage, and some people brought. Britt Baker cut a promo, and she did it on Rampage, or was that Collision? I don't know. But we had, we had some big people, and one of the bigger people I wanted to talk about was Orange Cassidy. And we had Jungle Boy wrestle RVD. Got a throwback, right? An old guy wrestling a new guy. We have Orange Cassidy this week wrestling Johnny TV. For those of you that don't know, Johnny Nitro. And there was a big difference between Johnny Nitro,
Impact or
Johnny whatever he's on. Yeah. They have to call him Johnny TV because they can't call him Johnny TBS. So so they have Johnny TV come out. A funny part was Taz saying that. Was it Taz? Who said it? That he said Johnny TV is his real name because it's French or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was Taz.
His real last name is TV, believe it or not. Yeah, but
Taz is pretty clever like that.
Yeah, he is. It was pretty funny, but I know he's not as old as RVD, but he's been wrestling for a minute, and holy cow, does this look good. Like, Orange Cassidy is in supreme shape, and I think Johnny TV was looking even sharper. It was good to see an old guy come back. I know he's still been wrestling around the circuit, but so was RVD. But this felt good. It was a solid match. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing Johnny TV on the screen again. I liked it all. I thought it wasn't a normal Orange Cassidy match. He didn't get beat up the whole time and have to come back from a broken hand. He had a normal match, got the win. And after the win, during the match, Wheeler Yuta came out and tried to interfere. And he was like, ah, blah, blah, blah. And then he went back up to the thing and he did commentary, correct? And after commentary, he came back down with the whole entire BCC, which I love seeing the BCC all over the place. Once again, they are being done the way Judgment Day should be done. And they come out and talk trash. And Wheeler Yuta, I think, after the match, cut a pretty damn good promo on Orange Cassidy. And I don't know why just now I realized this, but Wheeler Yuta is looking a little bit better and like more terrifying. And I know I don't like the blood, and I think it's too much. BCC overuse it. But remember this kid when he joined the BCC? I know that was like a year ago now, probably, give or take. But he was like a scrawny little nerdy kid. Now he's kind of got the beard. It's kind of grown a little bit more fuller. Doesn't look as raggedy. It felt legit. Like when he was threatening Orange Cassidy, saying he's going to take his belt, I'm like, Wheeler Yuta could be that dude. And we can talk about that. I mean, they do wrestle later on, but in the same week. But he challenged him. I thought it was great. I thought Orange Cassidy cut a great promo back. I thought it was a great way and a great way to utilize two people who, in my opinion, are too big for Rampage, but just showing that Rampage continues to be used right and might be the best transition show out of all three shows. I feel like Rampage is being done right on where they need to go. I mean, we had the BCC on this. We had Orange Cassidy. We had a title match announced. We had a feud start. I mean, it was
Britt Baker. Yeah.
Britt Baker. It was all over the place. I loved it. What say you? Did you like this match? Did you like Johnny TV on here? Was that pointless? Like, what's...
Yeah, no, I thought it was... I'm not a fan of them bringing back people just for the sake of bringing them back, but I thought they used Johnny TV perfectly. I like Johnny TV. I think the man can still go. I remember his Impact. The last match he had in Impact was against Austin Aries, where Aries like no-sold the pin or something, and then like walked out of the company afterwards. And and then John Morrison came back to WWE and was used poorly, absolutely horribly. So I'm actually glad to see him giving other guys a rub, even though he's not getting wins in AEW. He's giving other people a rub, and I thought, he brought out the best in Orange Cassidy. I thought this was a really good match, and like you said, Orange Cassidy wasn't the typical Orange Cassidy match, which we've grown accustomed to seeing him getting the shit kicked out of him every spot of the match, and then he's nursing a broken arm. He can't do the Orange Crush or the Orange Punch, and he can't do this move because his shoulder's broken, and then he ends up somehow pulling off the victory and using the tights or using the ropes or something. This was a different match, and I'm all for it, man. Orange Cassidy can go, and I'm happy to see it. And yeah, I think when you bring guys like Johnny TV and RVD back, and they do what they've done, they're using them correctly. I'm glad that RVD didn't win. I'm glad Johnny TV didn't get the win and somehow became the new international champion. I think that would have done a lot of more harm than good. And it gave Orange Cassidy a huge rub, and now he's got a lot of momentum going against the BCC.
I agree. Well said. I agree.
And then what I want to talk about, something I was a little confused about, but I liked it. And that's the main event, Saraya versus Skye Blue. And, Saraya looked good. She, the match was good. It was a solid match. It was a good way to end the show. If Saraya got the victory, and now she is the third woman, because we don't know what's happening on Dynamite yet, but she's now the third woman in the Women's Championship Fatal 4-Way match at AEW All In next Sunday, I think it is, in 2 weeks. And so it's now Toni Storm, who had her rematch clause, didn't even have to fight in the tournament, and now Saraya, because she beat Skye Blue, and Hikaru Shida, who beat Anna Jay last week. And then Britt Baker wrestles
you can say it, yeah.
The Bunny on she beat the Bunny on Dynamite and became the fourth person. So now we know our Fatal 4-Way, and they kind of telegraphed that a little bit when they had Britt Baker cut a promo, but no sign of the Bunny cutting a promo. So
she was also wrestling the Bunny.
Like, yeah, exactly. So so Saraya wrestled Skye Blue, but the one thing I was confused about was after the match, the Outcasts came out and beat down Skye Blue. So are they back together? Because
I guess we'll find out later on in the week, right? Because they come out together again.
Yeah, because like when we went to Collision, they did another interview with Toni Storm, and she was still in her curlers and her robe, and she was like, "I'll have my girl Saraya with me," but I don't know. It was just weird. It kind of just felt weird. Like we haven't seen the Outcasts on TV in a long time, and now all of a sudden we thought they were done, and now they're back together. I don't know. It was weird, but I'm happy to see Saraya in the match. I think the Fatal 4-Way match is shaping up to could be match of the night at All In. I'm probably one of the most, maybe behind MJF and Adam Cole. I think it might be the match I'm most excited about because of the dynamic of Saraya and Toni Storm. And then where does Britt Baker fit into it? Hikaru Shida, what are they going to do? So, because they have history too. So, yeah, I think that might be the match I'm looking forward to the second most, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
In that Fatal 4-Way. So, yeah, I thought this was a good way to end Rampage, and but I was just a little confused because we had the return of the Outcasts, which I thought they were gone.
I agree. It was and we talked about it last week too. On are the Outcasts broken up? Like what happened? So, yeah,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, solid way to end Rampage.
Yeah, I agree. All right, you ready for Collision?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the Collision was kind of, we talked about it beforehand. That we thought it was. I asked you how was Collision. You were like, meh. It was kind of this and that. And I'm like, again, Collision has been so kind of all over the place. And then obviously our segment today, we'll get into what was going on with it. But I did think there was a couple positives in a pretty uneventful show. Number one, Christian Cage cut a promo. And I know he always cuts promos, but this dude, I still think Dirty Dom is the biggest heel in the game by far. But Christian Cage cuts the best heel promos of anybody in the world, maybe ever. This dude just knows how to deliver a heel promo. It's smooth, it's crisp. I know he kind of talks about the same stuff. I think he delivers it better than MJF. I think if him and MJF went heel for heel promo, I think Christian Cage would beat him. I think it'd be close, but I think Christian Cage can cut a damn good heel promo, and he cut one. And I love that this entire promo, he talked about himself being the champ. Once again, the whole thing was my TNT title. Me. I'm the champ.
I'm digging this. Yeah.
I love it too, as Luchasaurus just sat there. And then Arn Anderson's old butt walks out, and he's like, I'll challenge you. If this was 20 years ago, I beat you, blah, 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 but I'll get revenge today. And I'm going to have this guy beat you for the title. And Christian's like, nah, fam. He's wrestling Luchasaurus. He's the champ. So I love where they're going with this. I love the dynamic. I love him being the champion, but never wrestling, and Luchasaurus wrestles. So like he's the champ, but Luchasaurus is like his puppet. It's like a puppeteer thing. I'm digging it. And I just love seeing Christian Cage, man. That was like, to me, that promo was the highlight. I love what he cuts. He keeps it so real, and he's just so damn funny. And the fact that he can call himself the champ over and over and over again and not break like an SNL skit is pretty impressive. I just feel like it's sooner or later he's going to giggle at it. Like, dude, like I keep saying I'm the champ. I don't even wrestle. But it's just good stuff. I love it. What say you?
Yeah, no, Christian Cage is fantastic. I didn't appreciate all his slander towards the great state of North Carolina.
You didn't like that he said you guys were all related because you guys are all incesting it up.
Yeah.
You didn't like that.
And then talking about that he's superior to Ric Flair or any other wrestler from North Carolina. I didn't hate that line so much. That was cool. But then he went as far as to say that Michael Jordan is not the greatest basketball player of all time, and that's when you get massive heel heat. I mean, you can diss Ric Flair, you can diss the Hardy Boys, you can diss the state of North Carolina, but you leave Jordan out of this. Jordan didn't do anything. But no, I thought it was all great. Christian Cage is fantastic as a heel. He's such a good promo. He can get that heat. He can make you love him and hate him in the same promo, just like that. And there's a guy in WWE who can do that. Like, and his name is, he doesn't even wrestle. His name is Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's good at that too. He can make you love him. See all the stuff with Cody Rhodes and the emotional promo he had there on the road to WrestleMania, talking about how great Dusty Rhodes was. And then you're the son that, Roman is the son that Dusty always wanted. You're the son that he never had, or something. There's just little things like that. And Christian Cage can do that exact same thing. So I'm loving it. At first I was a little torn on, do I like this whole Luchasaurus aspect? Because Luchasaurus is technically the TNT champion, but Christian Cage is the one rocking the title and saying he's the champion. But I'm actually digging it because it's something different, and we don't really see this a lot in wrestling, where somebody who's not the champion is claiming to be the champion. So I'm actually liking it. And now Luchasaurus is fighting his battles for him. Yeah, I'm digging all of this. Christian Cage is fantastic. And one thing that I'm confused about, and this is AEW's booking though. Darby Allin is feuding with Christian Cage, but Darby Allin is wrestling AR Fox and Swerve Strickland at All In. So it's like, I know All Out is the very next week. So maybe they're building Christian Cage or Luchasaurus versus Darby Allin at All Out the next week. And so they're having two feuds at once. But that's making it really confusing, because I kept, like, Darby Allin came out in that when Arn Anderson came out, and I'm like, okay, oh yeah, that's right, they're gonna have a match at All In. But I'm like, wait, no, he's in a tag team match with Sting against Swerve Strickland and AR. So I'm like, yeah, that's there's too much going on sometimes with AEW, and this is an example of that. We have too much going on, two feuds going on at one time. That I really thought Christian Cage was in the TNT title match at All In, but now maybe it's at All Out. I don't know. Mm-hmm. That's the one thing I'm not feeling. But I thought the promo was damn good.
I agree with you. The AEW constantly books people in double feuds. Makes no sense. No sense at all whatsoever. All right.
Yeah, and speaking of double feuds, the opening saw Tony Schiavone standing in the ring with absolute Ricky Starks. And we closed Collision last week with Ricky Starks losing to CM Punk in the main event for the real World Championship. The real World Championship.
Yes.
And after the match, Ricky Starks beat the snot out of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, officially turning heel, because that's what you do after you feud with MJF. You turn heel, and Ricky Starks did it. He became a full-on heel. So we opened Collision in Greensboro with a promo from Ricky Starks. Or first we had Tony Schiavone interviewing Ricky Starks, and he basically said, why'd you do it? Just like we saw Jimmy Uso. Why'd you do it? I did it for The Rock. But basically,
I did it for The Rock.
But basically, Ricky Starks he cut a pretty passionate promo, but then Tony Schiavone kind of cut him off and said, well, now you're suspended for 30 days. We're from wrestling for 30 days per Tony Khan. But Ricky Starks, game the system. I'll show you. He went and got his manager's license. And apparently, I guess you can get that online somewhere. I don't know. You can get it in a week. I don't know. Like, does Paul Heyman have one? Does Arn Anderson have one? Like, how do you get a manager's license in wrestling? But
I don't know. He
gets his manager's license, and he continues cutting his promo and talking about that. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat deserved it. He had to whoop his ass.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
That there's consequences for your actions. He talked about it was kind of a weird promo because it was like he was trying to be a heel, but he was also saying some things that kind of made sense. And he called out CM Punk, talking about how the blood is on his hands for his attack on Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. That you got the win, I got the L, but guess what? I can live with mine. Can you? You're not Superman, you're not bulletproof, and you're damn sure not absolute Ricky Starks. I thought that was a dope line of that promo. Ricky Starks cut a pretty passionate promo in this thing, and I just don't understand what they're doing. So I guess he's not wrestling at All In at the biggest show in wrestling history that they're billing it as, because he's suspended for 30 days. Is he wrestling at All Out? But I opened this with, speaking of double feuds, because the feud going into this was CM Punk versus Ricky Starks. And now we're not getting that at All In. I don't know. It doesn't make any. Instead, CM Punk's feuding with somebody else, which we'll get into in the main event when I talk about that. But it looks like it's going to be Punk versus Samoa Joe at All Out or All In. And again, too many feuds at one time with AEW.
I agree. And why is Punk feuding with both of them? It makes zero sense, because Ricky Starks called them out in that promo too, because he literally said next week the war begins or something like that. So it's like you're obviously so Punk's just gonna wrestle everybody, and I mean it's just I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know what the heck they're doing. I don't know why they double feud everybody. That's something WWE never does. Don't double book. You don't ever double book anything in life. So don't double book feuds in wrestling. I don't know why. It just kind of makes me too feel like you're trying to get Ricky Starks obviously over as a heel, because he's like, I whipped his ass, stole the belt, I'll do it again. He deserved it. Deserved it for why? Because he cost him the match? I mean, because he pinned. I mean, it's like that's very heelish stuff. So obviously he's going full heel, but you're having him go full heel. But now that you're making him the secondary person against CM Punk, because obviously Samoa Joe's the bigger deal, as you'll probably talk about later on. And that just kind of leaves Ricky Starks in the dust, correct? So it doesn't make me feel like he's winning anytime soon. So to me, overall, it was just really, really weird what they're doing with Ricky Starks, unless he's going to move on to somebody else. Or maybe he's going to be a manager for, I don't know. Maybe he's going to be Samoa Joe's manager.
I can see that. Or he could reunite with the person I think you're about to talk about. Which I wouldn't hate.
Let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about it.
I like it.
My boy, your boy, It's not even Tuesday. But Hobbs comes out, Powerhouse Hobbs comes out and basically quits QTV, right? I mean, in a nutshell, he comes out and he's like, I need to go back to my roots. I took a week off to find myself. And guess what I found? The Book of Hobbs. It's back, ladies and gentlemen. And his chapter is redemption. He is back. He found the Book of Hobbs. He's doing his thing. And with all of this, he says that he wants to face Miro. And Miro comes out. And out comes QTV, and they beat the snot out of him. And then Hobbs is like, what should I do? He puts him in his finisher, punishes him. But nonetheless, whether you have QTV and whatever, these two people need something to do. They need to be on Collision. That's where they should be. Why not? I do get that there's two people that need wins and someone has to lose. Yeah. But in a nutshell, Miro versus Powerhouse Hobbs, are you kidding me? That's like, I'll pay for that. Sign me up. I'll pay for it. I'll go to North Carolina and watch Collision with you last week. If they're going to put that match on there, I'm all for it. Sign me up for it. I dug it. I thought it was cool. And I like that Powerhouse Hobbs, even though he got help from people he probably didn't want help from because it looked like he was confused by the jumping, he still did the job. And that's what you do, right? You're not going to let that guy get up and say, sorry, this ain't friend mode. This isn't Edge versus, Sheamus. Yeah. This is, you got to put that work in. So I love it. I love the call out. And Miro's back finally, so maybe we'll, maybe hear from Thunder Rosa one day. But yeah, so what say you?
Yeah, I don't hate this feud at all. I think if they build it right, the one thing though about AEW that we talked about before is story.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know next week, why are they fighting?
Yes.
What's the reasoning behind this match? Do they have a history together? Do they, they're two big guys. They're two big powerhouses. No pun intended.
Mm-hmm.
They both need victories, and Miro's been away, and Powerhouse Hobbs has kind of been on a losing streak. So I want to know why they're fighting, and then if they can give us a good story, then I'll be more invested. But I want to see these guys feud. I want to see them fight. If they do it right, I think it could be pretty spectacular. And I want to see it. If it's at All In, if it's at All Out, if it's next week on Collision, they need to have a match.
I agree. Sign me up.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind seeing Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs reunite. If you're gonna make them both heels, and Powerhouse Hobbs is trying to cut away from QTV and find himself, go back to what worked and bring back. You don't need to call him Team Taz, but just be his manager, and and kind of set Ricky Starks up for some other things as the manager since he's suspended. So I'd be down for that. Kind of blend, they like to double book people anyway, so why not just add right to this for whatever reason. And then the main event. The main event was CMFTR against House of Black for the AEW World Trios Championships. And I didn't hate this match. I thought this match was fun, it was entertaining, it was good.
Got talent, yeah.
Yeah. Earlier in the night, though, Samoa Joe he came out and he beat somebody in less than 20 seconds and beat some nobody, a jobber.
Mm-hmm.
And he cut a promo basically saying that CM Punk is acting like a real bitch right now. Your real world champion's acting like a real bitch. I have heard silence. He's a coward. I gave you the courtesy of asking. But now, I came out here by asking you for what I want, which is you at All Out. Now later tonight, I'm going to convince you and I'm going to make you want to fight me. Mm-hmm. And so we get to the main event, and I thought the match was really good. Punk got some good shots in. I thought House of Black looked phenomenal as usual. FTR did their thing. And then right as the match was getting ready to end, it looked like Punk and FTR were going to get the Trios Championships, and out of nowhere, here comes Samoa Joe, and he locks in whatever his finishing move is, the chokehold on CM Punk, and CM Punk goes down, and he goes to sleep, no pun intended, and that allows the House of Black to get the victory over FTR. Cash Wheeler took the pin, and so I guess we're getting CM Punk, and that's how it ends. Samoa Joe and CM Punk at All In, it looks like. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this, because again, the feud going into it was Ricky Starks versus CM Punk, and now for whatever reason we're pivoting immediately with less than 2 weeks of build to Punk and Joe, when we don't need to see this match. I don't want to see this
No.
match at All In or All Out or any of them. We just saw it a few weeks ago in the Owen Hart Invitational. We don't need to see it now. So I'd rather see Punk and Starks. I really would, because you make a young guy, you give him his moment on the big stage, and Punk's there to do the job, and I would love it. But we're going to see Punk and Joe, and this match was cool in 2008, but in 2023, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, I agree, and I was confused by this match to begin with because it came out of nowhere. There was no point to it, no build. They had no interaction. All of a sudden, they were fighting for the trios, and it was like, oh no, CM Punk's going to get a title. Like, what is happening? And then that didn't happen, and then it just kind of, you did all this just to have a feud with Samoa Joe. You could have got there another way. It's all the match was fine itself, and I love seeing House of Black and Julia Hart and all that, but this was weird booking, weird everything, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was weird. And then you have FTR in a feud with the Young Bucks, and I kept thinking maybe this is how we get Punk and the Bucks at one of these events, because maybe the Young Bucks will come out and either cost FTR the match and Punk gets mad, and that's how we get Punk versus the Elite or something. But no, it didn't happen at all. And and I don't. We've talked about this before too. The AEW having their champions lose. Don't put champions against champions, and then you have your tag team champions getting ready to go against one of the best tag teams of all time, the Young Bucks, at the biggest event, and you have them lose. Like, you're just stalling all momentum. I don't like.
Yeah, me neither. And that brings us to Dynamite, my man. And I'm going to continue on. I'm going to talk about this one first, and let's continue with House of Black and random booking. So the Acclaim come out. They're about to wrestle a couple of jobbers, right? They were jobbers. I don't think they were. They wrestled jobbers on Collision too, but now they're wrestling jobbers again. And on Collision, they basically talked about how they're going the tag team route. We're going the tag team now. Billy is doing his thing. They still bring out his boots. We're going to go on without him. Much love, yada, yada, yada. Right? And so they come out and cut an awesome rap. They have some good lines. And then all of a sudden the lights go out, and everybody except the announcers know what's about to happen. And because the only time the lights go out is if Sting's coming, The Undertaker, or House of Black. And it wasn't going to be Sting. Although, mad props, I don't think we're going to talk about this, but we got Joker Sting coming back.
I'm all in on that.
Joker Sting's coming back.
Full of puns today. But
Joker Sting is back, right? He did the laughs, the red, the Joker Sting is my favorite Sting ever. It was from TNA, y'all, from back in the day. 100%. So it looks like he's back. But anyway, so it's House of Black, and they're in the ring, and the Acclaim know it. Even they knew it. So they don't turn their backs. They turn their shirts off. They turn around. The beatdown goes on, and the House of Black puts in work. And I love the House of Black. I love the Acclaim. I get it. What are we doing? If they're tag team now, are the House of Black going to tag team against them? And Malachi's going to sit off to the side? Are we having...
That's what he did in the beatdown.
That's what... Yeah, he basically just watched, right? And then... Julia Hart just... Oh, God, she is so fine. She came in and just stood there, too, and she doesn't get enough love. I think she's dating a wrestler, too. But then they had... And then are they doing this for Billy Gunn? Is this... Because remember when Billy Gunn retired, they, all whispered in his ear and gave him a kiss before they left. I don't know.
They had his boots.
They had his boots. So once again, what is House of Black doing? They had a random matchup with CMFTR. Now they're randomly feuding with the Acclaimed again, but they're a trios against a tag team. I like it, but I don't know what's going on. Why? That's the problem with AEW sometimes, that there's no rhyme or reason. It's just this will be fun because the wrestlers want to do it. House of Black is probably let's beat up the Acclaimed. Cool. Or is this leading to Billy joining the House of Black? Is that what we're doing all this for?
Yeah.
But then once again, what's the point of that? Because it's going to be 4 against 2 then, and it ain't like the Acclaim can outmatch. I don't know where this is if they go that route, what's the point there too? So I'm just confused with it all.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be what you said. I think it's going to bring Billy Gunn out of retirement, and they're going to have a match. It's going to be a trios match, Billy Gunn and the Acclaimed against House of Black. But then either before, during, or after the match, Billy Gunn turns on the Acclaimed. Finally, he snaps, and that's when we get him either joining House of Black or or he reunites with his sons, or he goes his own way or something. But yeah, I think that's where they're going with it. I think it's going to bring Billy Gunn out of retirement. The one thing about this segment, though, and I don't know. I know people like this because it was all over the audience in the crowd, but the barking really annoyed me. The
Yeah. Why is he doing that? I should have said that because I hated it.
I was like, what is happening? Like, this is really annoying. And the crowd was doing it, and Brody King was doing it, and I'm like,
well, he was the one doing it, right? He was the barker.
He was the one doing it the whole time, and then the crowd started doing it, and yeah, it was just, but it was like he kept doing it, and he kept doing it, and I was like, stop it! It's so annoying.
And what's scary about that? Like, you're the House of Black. You're supposed to be this mysterious,
and you're barking.
Crew, and you're barking. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I was
really weird.
I was really blown away by that. I was just like, this is not. No, like you could have you made your point.
This is not no.
Yeah, you made your point with the beatdown. You didn't have to add the barking didn't make me any more intimidated by them. And it was just really just annoyed me. But yeah, I thought it was a solid wrap, but yeah, I'm also a little confused as to what's happening with the Acclaimed, because they said they're a tag team, but now is Billy Gunn coming back? What did they say to Billy Gunn to cause him to retire in the first place? Like, can we get to that? Can we stop having so many questions and get some answers finally?
Thank you. I agree.
Yeah, and then for Dynamite, I'm gonna pat myself on the back for a minute, if you don't mind, and I'm gonna talk about Chris Jericho and the Don Callis family, because he finally made his decision. And you weren't feeling it last week, and I said, let's see it through. There's like AEW's telling a story. We give them crap all the time for not telling stories. So let's see what happens. And there's going to be shenanigans afoot. And I have a feeling Chris Jericho is not going to be joining the Don Callis family. And that happened this week. Chris Jericho made his decision, and he said yes, he was going to join the Don Callis family. He was ready to go, and they were going to go celebrate. They were going to go like everything was great. And then Chris Jericho was like, oh, what's under Don Callis brought out a picture for some reason. It reminded me a lot of that Festival of Friendship that Kevin Owens and Jericho did, where like the Jericho was like the angel and sleeping in the bed.
Picture. Yeah,
it was funny. Yeah, but so Jericho was like, I really want to see this picture. I really want to see it. I really want to see it. Before we go, let's take a look. And he unveiled it, and it's Don Callis holding the head of Chris Jericho. He beheaded Chris Jericho apparently, and yeah, and he's like, "Why am I beheaded?"
That was my favorite part.
Yeah. Why am I dead? Why did you behead me?
Were you gonna murder me? Yeah.
It was so. I thought that was a classy Chris Jericho, Chris Jericho right there. Yeah, and then Chris Jericho was confused. He was shocked that Don Callis he was never going to be a part of the Don Callis family. And then out came Will Ospreay, and Will Ospreay beat the snot out of Chris Jericho, busted him open. We got to see blood in AEW on somebody other than Jon Moxley for once. And, I didn't like it. I'm going to be honest with you. I want to boast that I was right, and I was. But I didn't. Again, this feels random. We're talking about double booking people. Don Callis is in the middle of a feud with Kenny freaking Omega. Right before this, we saw Kenny Omega's interview with good old JR. And in the interview, he's talking about what's next. And then who walks up to him? Don Callis and Bullet Club Gold. And they beat down Kenny Omega. And now Don Callis is randomly feuding with Chris Jericho. And then all of a sudden, Will Ospreay comes out and beats up Chris Jericho. And Sammy Guevara comes out and makes the save and runs them out of there. And, with the same Sammy Guevara who, ripped Chris Jericho last week because he said he's not a good person and all this stuff. So I think it was a face turn for Jericho. It was a face turn for Sammy Guevara. So I'm in on that. I was hoping that the people that were going to be joining the Don Callis family was actually everybody else in the Jericho Appreciation Society. So Jake Hager, Daddy Magic, Cool Hand Luke, and even Sammy Guevara himself. After all, they were talking all that smack about not being loyal, Jericho not being loyal to them, and then they go and join the Don Callis family over him. But all in all, it was fine. I don't really know if I want to see Ospreay versus Jericho at All In. Ospreay just doesn't do it for me. I know he's That's an unpopular opinion. Everybody loves that guy. I'm not. I just don't see it. Maybe I don't see enough of him, and maybe that's what it is. But I don't know anything about him. And with AEW, they got to make me interested, and they only have 2 weeks to do it. So I wasn't. Well, I didn't hate this, but I also really didn't like it. I didn't love it.
I got to agree and disagree with you all at the same time. So let's start with that. I thought this stuff was whack. I thought their promo together was stupid. I thought Jericho doing the whole, I only create my own factions. So you're not going to do it? I am going to do it. And then Don Callis like, yay! And they were like best friends. And I forgot the picture was even there. And then all of a sudden, come back to the picture, and it's literally him holding his head. Like,
that was
all
weird.
That work, and that was going to be your, like, when he said no, that's what you were going to do, is give him a picture. It was all of it was stupid, and you could have turned a different way. And what was the point of leading all this if you're just going to have him say you're not? Like, I don't know. I just thought it was all dumb. I didn't like any of it. Don, like you said, Don Callis was literally in a promo like 5 minutes before this one, like a backstage promo with Kenny Omega. I know it's pre-recorded, but still, it's like, and Bullet Club Gold. Now, are they in the Callis fan? I thought they were in their own crew. Why were they there beating? I'm so confused on what the hell is happening in AEW. I don't know what and I've always been confused by AEW factions because they've always done that. Where like the Dark Order has had a billion different people not in it, and then all of a sudden Hangman Page is back in it. Then he's not in it. Now they're really not. I can't keep up with AEW. And like you said, the double booking. But with that said, and with how awful I thought all of this was, and I have no idea what's going on, dude, Will Ospreay is money, my man. And I'm like, even him coming out and putting the beat down on him with his shirt off and just in like sweats, and he's just like, rah, rah, and he's like rocked up and he's just beating the snot out of him. Like, sign me up, man. That's like the future against the old. I think Will Ospreay needs to be in AEW. I'm sick of him being wasted. I said this a long time ago in New Japan Wrestling. He needs to be on why the hell is he not on the big show? Why are they not? Like, that dude could be a champ in AEW. That dude is flipping money. I think he's better than Kenny Omega. I think he's better than any Jericho currently, not of all time. I think he's better than Sammy Guevara. I think he's better than all these cats right now. So bring him over and let him do his damn thing. But it is what it is. But once again, it was random, right? Is Callis is bringing a bunch of New Japan? Is his crew going to be New Japan wrestlers? Is the Bullet Club Gold in the Callis family? I thought they were their own crew. I'm just confused because then the Bullet Club Gold did something else that week too. They were like double booked as well.
They're all over the place.
Beat somebody else up. So I'm like, what with the Guns? So I'm like, I don't. And the Guns are at least in it now, but I can't keep up, man. Like watching it is like a flipping roller coaster. So
I'm the same way, and I think that's what it is about Will Ospreay. It's not that I don't like the guy. I just don't see enough of him because I don't watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. I watched Forbidden Door, but then we don't see Will Ospreay for a long time, and then then he comes out randomly and beats up Chris Jericho, and then we won't see him for a long time after All In. And, so I like bring him to AEW, and maybe I'll change my opinion on him. But right now, it's just like he comes and goes, and I want to like him. I think he looks good. I think he is money, but I just don't see enough of him.
And I think he's better than flashy matches. I don't think he's just like the Young Bucks where he's just going to spot fest all day. I think the dude actually is a phenomenal wrestler, and I think he's got promos, and I think he's got intensity. So, but let's talk about something positive, man. Again, we have been, not the last part, but we got to talk about the best thing going on in maybe wrestling today, and that's MJF and Adam Cole, baby. That's the Better Than You, baby. They have that awesome double clothesline shirt on, and they're about to face Aussie Open, and MJF has a brilliant. So last week, Adam Cole had a brilliant idea. They went to the trampoline park. This week, MJF has an awesome idea. If you want to face an Aussie, I guess you have to eat like an Aussie. And so they go to Outback Steakhouse. And maybe my favorite part, because I've never been to Outback. We don't have a ton of them around me. I don't know if you do in North Carolina. I don't have a ton of Outbacks. So now I kind of want to go. Is their steak good, or is it like Sizzler steak? I don't know if it's like kind of like Sizzler. Yeah. Okay, so it's not like a good steak. Yeah, okay. I'm going to pay $35 for like a whatever steak. It's not even a real filet. It's like a fake one with a bone in it. And I'm like, this ain't a filet. But so, but the best part about it was that he looked, and because Adam Cole definitely didn't drive his car there, park, see where he was. He found out at that moment in front of the restaurant. But he found out, and he's like, I love Outback Steakhouse. And then MJF was like, stay focused. It was pretty funny. And they go in and they eat. And they get the bloomin' onion, which I heard is like the greatest flipping thing in the history of the world. They get good steak, and they leave. And MJF basically surrenders his number one contendership, saying, if their food is that damn good, there is a 0% chance that they are going to beat Aussie Open. And I'm assuming with what the next segment you're going to talk about is, if there's one thing AEW does awful, it's product placement. And when they talk about something, they got I'm assuming Outback paid them or Tony Khan had stock in it, because obviously that was like an Outback Steakhouse commercial. But nonetheless, they go back to the promo and they're about to come out and MJF has to go poopies. And Adam Cole does another funny thing where he's like, I guess that means we're going to commercial, ladies and gentlemen. And they go to commercial and then they come back out and it's them with the best music. It's not on Apple Music. I don't know why their theme song is not on Apple Music.
Yeah,
but the MJF and Adam Cole mix song is a flippin' banger. And they come out and Adam Cole, it's story time with Adam Cole, baby. And he does the whole, I need to be the champ because I need it. If I don't win this belt, it's pretty much like, what the hell am I doing here? Which makes sense. And then MJF cuts a good promo, but it's the same old, when I was a kid and blah, 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 blah. And then when I was trying to get into AEW, Cody Rhodes called me up and now I'm with, blah, blah, blah. And I was all in, even though I lost. And now, you were my number one choice of wrestling. And now we're going to wrestle and yada, yada, yada. But it was good. It was good build. It was once again them building their match without having to hate each other. And Aussie Open comes in and they try to put the beat down, which in another funny segment, I forgot who the announcer or which announcer said it, but he's like, Aussie Open came to, oh wait, no, now they're getting their butts kicked. Never mind. They're getting beat up because it got turned so quickly. Aussie Open gets beat up. They run up the ramp. MJF is about to do his new theme because he was watching, shows in Australia, our Animal Planet, and they did the kangaroos pouch up and do a kick. And so he wants to do the kangaroo kick and he tried to set it up. So I'm assuming the kangaroo kick is what's gonna help them win the ROH titles. But he tries to do the kangaroo kick. Aussie Open slips out, and as he's looking at Aussie Open, Adam Cole is hunched down about to hit him or kick him or do something, maybe the rock bottom, because that's what you do before you do a rock bottom. And he was crouched down, and MJF turns and sees him. Then they instantly just hug, and they're best friends again, and they go stand up in the ropes, and let's move on. But I love it. I love what they're doing with it. I think it's great. I like that they tease it, but they're not feuding. They're just two best friends, and they got to get a comeuppance. And I hope they win the tag team titles, and I hope whoever wins between the two, which is looking like Adam Cole, we can continue on this friendship and keep this story going because it's money, man. Tony Khan likes money, obviously. This is printing money, so why break them up?
Yeah, I don't want to see them break up. And I know that's probably maybe a hot take to some people, but I know that it's inevitable that one of them is going to turn, whether it's MJF or Adam Cole. Maybe it's in the tag team match in the pre-show, or maybe it's in the main event of All In afterwards. Or, I don't know. But it's inevitable that somebody's going to turn. But I don't think they should. I think they should have a regular match, hug it out at the end. Whoever wins, wins. And then slowly start the animosity and the jealousy and the turn that way. But don't need to rush it because this is printing money. This is all great stuff. I like the promo from both guys. I liked MJF's promo. He did name drop WWE and he did talk about Cody Rhodes, but I was okay with it because he wasn't ripping the WWE. He wasn't attacking the WWE and talking about all the wrestlers in WWE. He was just basically saying that this is supposed to be the biggest show next to WWE. That's ever been produced, or the biggest show out. He was talking about the first All In being the first show outside of the biggest show outside of WWE that's ever been produced, and he wanted to be a part of it. So I was okay with that. And then Cody Rhodes obviously is a big part of what AEW is currently. So I don't hate them mentioning him on TV. I'm sure he doesn't really like it very much, but it is what it is. But yeah, I thought the promo was great. I thought the match. I mean, this is the best storytelling AEW maybe has ever done. With Adam Cole and MJF, and it kind of happened organically, and I love it, and I want to see where it goes. But I don't think they should break up. I think they should have the regular match, win the tag team titles. Whoever wins the world championship is the world champ, and let it cook a little bit before you turn, because this thing is just getting started. You can keep doing adventures with Adam Cole and MJF every week, and last week they're at the trampoline park. This week they're at Outback. What are they going to do next week? What are they going to do the week of? They're in London. What are they going to do when they get back to Chicago for All Out the next?
I agree.
Let it cook. Let it cook.
I agree. All right, what's your last thing?
Oh, hate to end on such a downer, but we would probably witnessed on Dynamite the worst match I have ever seen in my entire life. And yes, Jeff Hardy versus Sting at the TNA pay-per-view Victory Road, I think it was, is probably the worst match I've ever seen. But he was inebriated, that he was under. That's something completely different. This was the worst bell-to-bell match I maybe have ever seen. And I'm referring to, it also, ironically, also has Jeff Hardy in it, the Jeffs. Jeff Hardy versus Jeff Jarrett and the Texas Death Match, or the Chainsaw Massacre.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre Death Match.
Yeah. Which, like, okay, there was a movie called The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but this is promoting a video game called The Texas. I'm like,
can you? Well, yeah.
Okay. Okay, whatever. And the match was all clunky. It was weird. Like, it started off backstage, and they come to the ring, and Jeff Jarrett's covered in blood. Karen Jarrett's got blood all over her. It's like everybody's all over the place. The Isaiah Cassidy's getting involved, and Matt Hardy's getting involved. It's just this was a hot flipping mess from start to finish. I couldn't keep up with what was going on in the ring. Everybody was so blood soaked that at one point I couldn't tell who the other one was.
Yeah,
and the camera angles were shoddy. It was just it was clunkily produced, and then oh my gosh, and then we get all of a sudden we hear a chainsaw. And out comes Leatherface, who is the villain, I guess, in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, movie and in the video game. He comes out with a chainsaw and he runs everybody out of there. And it allows
Karen Angle.
Yeah,
he runs her out.
Yeah. And then that sets up somebody to low blow Jeff Hardy. I don't even care. I don't even know who it was. I don't care. They put Jeff. Oh, it was Santam Singh.
And Jeff Jarrett wins, by the way.
Yeah, and Jeff Jarrett got the pinfall victory. After Jeff Hardy got power bombed and low blowed and everything by Jay Lethal and Santam Singh, and then Jeff Jarrett got the pinfall victory over Jeff Hardy in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre death match on AEW Dynamite, and this was terrible. And I hated it for the crowd because the crowd was not into this at all. And Britt Baker had to follow this up in her match with the Bunny. You had the main event. You had the main event with the Guns and the Young Bucks, which was a pretty solid main event.
It was actually very good. Yeah.
But this match took the crowd out of it. The Acclaimed segment happened after this too, and didn't feel like the crowd was as invested in that, except for the damn barking. But the crowd was just not feeling this. I hated this match. I hated everything about it. What was the point? I think that's my question. Like, what was the freaking point of this? How I feel like these guys have been feuding for 9,000 years since AEW started. They've been feuding. Jeff Jarrett and the Hardys. They had the compound match. They did they had that. And now they're doing this. And but what's the point? Like, why is Jeff Jarrett wrestling on TV right now? Why is Jeff Hardy doing these kinds of matches? What's this going to lead to? Is this Jeff? Nothing. Is Jeff Jarrett now the number one contender for something? Is this like what's the point of this?
This was all atrocious, and not only that, but they just had a themed match, a sponsored match, but they didn't have like the sponsor involved in the match. It was so like if Tony Khan really needs money that bad, are the ratings that bad on AEW? Like, why are they needing to do all these in-house sponsor matches? Because it's happening a lot. It's not like WWE where Chucky shows up once a year and that's really all we get. We're getting stuff like weekly where they have like, why can't it just be on the screen? Why can't you put it in the ring like the UFC does? Why do you have to have it be an entire theme match? And you talk about how everyone was covered in blood. This wasn't cut open blood. This was fake pig's blood or whatever that someone threw on them, and they had blood smeared. And obviously you're not a fan of horror movies. I'm a huge horror movie buff. I love horror movies. I go to horror nights in Hollywood, Universal. I'm going. I love horror movies. Leatherface is one of the greatest villains of all time. The dude that came out as Leatherface was literally dressed up with like the cheapest. Like, Tony Khan, you're a billionaire. You can't get like a legit Leatherface mask. It was like one I could afford at Walmart. It just all looked. And why was Leatherface like?
That's what made me think.
Was he going to kill people? Like, what?
Like this. Plus, like, there's no chain on that chainsaw. So come on, man. We all know it's like it's those haunted house chainsaws. That,
yes,
they chase. I'm gonna get you.
Yeah.
I kept thinking, maybe this is the debut of somebody. Maybe he's dressed up as Leatherface and he's going to come out with the chainsaw, scare everybody off, and he's going to unveil himself, and it's going to be Jey Uso or I don't know, like Jey Uso, because he quit WWE and his contract's up, so now he's all in. I don't know who I thought it was going to be, but I kept thinking, okay, maybe they're debuting a wrestler, and then he chased away Karen Angle and whoever else was out there, and he never came back. And I'm like, oh, okay, that was not a debuting wrestler in AEW or a returning wrestler. So
I don't know. It was a hot mess, and even the part backstage where they got smeared with blood, and then Jarrett and Karen were acting like Jeff and Karen were acting like they were being like walking through the dark hall, like, what's happening?
Oh my god,
a party.
So
and it
bad.
was too clunky, and let's just end it. It was stupid. We shouldn't talk about it anymore. It was dumb. And that's how we're going to end our AEW week. So I think we had more positives this week in AEW than we did WWE, but still, nonetheless, a lot of misses in wrestling this week. It was a pretty sad. Hopefully, we turn it around this week with SmackDown tomorrow on Rampage, and get ready for All In.
And we have All In next week, so they've got to step up their game.
They got to come hard. And with that said, our segment today, we are back to it, and what we like to call, I think we call it, "What did CM Punk say this week?" or something. What do we call it? What did CM Punk say? What did CM Punk say? I think that's what we call it, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
CM Punk say today.
What did CM Punk say today? And of course, in the news, Shooting Star is going to talk about it. But right before All In, CM Punk decided to have an all temper tantrum, collision, and so on. Let him have it. Let's discuss it, Shooting Star Press.
Yeah, so it all started at Collision last week. Apparently, or after the show went off the air, CM Punk cut a scathing, if you will, air quotes around it, promo on one Hangman Adam Page. He saw a sign that said Carolina is Hangman country, and he was just responding to that poster, basically saying that he went to the supermarket earlier today and he saw the reason they call him Hangman Page is because his merchandise and his action figures hang on the shelves all day because nobody wants to buy them. Whereas he's selling out arenas and selling merch and popping ratings week in and week out. He literally said this, and his merch sells out, but nobody wants to buy Pegboard Page's action figures and merchandise. And then he kind of like went off on a tangent about House of Black chopping him, and he's a little out of sorts. And then the promo just kind of weirdly ended, and FTR took over, and because they're from North Carolina, and they were talking about how great the crowd was, great the arena was, yada yada yada, how it felt great to be back there, and all that. So that was going around the wrestling sphere. Was, oh my gosh, he cut a promo on Hangman Page. Why is he starting junk with Hangman? What's going on? Well, then more news came out that Hangman Page was originally supposed to be on Collision, and he was going to do a pre-tape segment because he lives in Greensboro, North Carolina, which I didn't know that. And I'm from here. I didn't know that. I had no idea. Yeah, I'm going to go find his house, but I'll find out why they call him Hangman. But but no, but apparently he was supposed to do a pre-tape segment or something, doing something for All In and his segment with the Elite. I don't know what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to do something where they filmed him. And apparently Hangman Page got to the arena and was told to turn around and leave. So he turns around and leaves. And then the reports are that CM Punk was the reason that Hangman Page was not supposed to be on Collision, because he's supposed to be on Dynamite. And this is a CM Punk show. Then more news came out that that Dolph Ziggler's brother, Ryan Nemeth, was also showed up to Collision on Saturday, and he was supposed to be in a segment. Maybe he was the guy that Samoa Joe was supposed to go against or something, because he's not a well-known guy in AEW. So he was supposed to just put somebody over, I think. But he was supposed to do a segment. He was flown in from wherever he lives to North Carolina to do this segment. And as soon as he got there, he was shown the door. And apparently it's because, and apparently him and Punk had words. And it was because that when Punk came back, Ryan Nemeth tweeted that CM Punk is literally the softest man in the world. And Punk wanted to have words with him about it and basically said that the tweet didn't do him any favors, and he's trying to move past the feud with the Bucks, and that brought more attention to it. And Punk threatened, he said, "You want to take this outside?" And Ryan Nemeth was like, "No, I don't want to take this outside." They ended up like having like a tense, awkward conversation. And then more news came out. There's more that Matt Hardy was supposed to be on AEW Collision because, again, you got to get the local boys, and he's from North Carolina. But Matt Hardy has been he's spoken out several times against CM Punk. And he was apparently shown the door, and he wasn't allowed to even enter the arena. So you have Hangman Page, Ryan Nemeth, and now Matt Hardy. And then there's more news that Christopher Daniels was supposed to be backstage at AEW Collision. And Christopher Daniels is not only an on-air talent, but he's also a Ring of Honor superstar, and Ring of Honor pre-tapes before Collision usually. And so he maybe was supposed to be on the show for Ring of Honor, but he got there and CM Punk said, "No, you're leaving. You're out of here." He's also the head of talent relations. This Christopher Daniels is the head of talent relations, and CM Punk basically is the reason that he could not show up to the arena on Saturday for Collision. And the rumor is that because he felt that Christopher Daniels took the elite side in the whole brawl out situation when they had their fight backstage after All Out 2022. And B, if Ace Steel can't be backstage, then Christopher Daniels shouldn't be allowed backstage. But I remind you that Christopher Daniels is the head of talent relations. So
Yikes.
Yeah, so there's a little bit more, but we'll stop right there and give me your 2 cents on all that.
So here's the thing, right? Number one, who's in charge, Tony Khan or CM Punk? So during that MJF and Adam Cole promo when they got yelled at by their boss, was that CM Punk or was that Tony Khan doing it? Secondly, what is going on with it? I don't like to listen to rumors, right? I'm not that biggest guy, and you don't know what's true and what's not real. But the thing is that most things that have been brought up about CM Punk have usually been true, right? They usually come up as being correct, or the whole backstage stuff. It seems like all of that was valid, everything that was said. So I'm assuming that all of this is true. And what was the point of bringing him back if he's going to be petty about everything? And I was talking to my friend about this because I said, God, this guy is like so petty. Was he like this in WWE? And he said, yeah, rumor has it that just Triple H is that guy. Triple H can keep people at bay and tell people, get over it. This isn't going to happen. You don't get what you want. And eventually that's why he left. And it's funny because when he left, he trashed the WWE and Triple H so bad about how mistreated he was and this and that. You go back and look at it, man, maybe we should have never been CM Punk fans. It looks like this guy's a child. I don't know how he got AJ Lee. I don't know how he's still in the business. And once again, we talked about it because I told you, I'm like, why is TK just letting this guy do this? Why is he having charge of Collision? Why? And you said, well, he's paid a lot. He's tickets to All In. I don't even know he has a match at All In. Like, so who's paying to see him at All In? So what is he truly doing? The ratings of Collision are trash. I think Collision isn't that good of. I think it's the worst show out of the 3, to be honest, even though it gets high ratings for some reason by the people who watch it. But what is he truly doing? I don't get it. Outdated jokes about Hangman Page, holding people backstage. Like, you're supposed to be the leader. You came to Collision to be the leader, to prove. If you don't want the elite there, don't have them there. But don't exclude everybody else because they know the elite. Everybody's friends. It's wrestling. You can't just say, oh, you talk to them or you support them, then you're grow the fudge up. The end. Yeah.
No, I completely agree. And he's just so hypocritical too, because he's over here throwing shots at Hangman. And I got to give Hangman credit. Am I the biggest Hangman Page
supporter? He had a promo too. Yeah.
Yeah. Am I the biggest Hangman Page supporter? No. But the man hasn't said anything about CM Punk. Not a word. Nothing in retaliation. Nothing from the brawl out stuff when he called him a no talent ass clown. I can't remember what he called him directly, but he just ripped on Adam Page and Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana hasn't said anything publicly either in response to brawl out. We've heard from Kenny Omega, we heard a little bit from the Bucks, but we have not. We heard from CM Punk, but we have not heard a word from Hangman Page. And even in his promo on Dynamite, I was thinking maybe he's gonna take a little shot there,
or maybe throw a secret,
or like drink a Pepsi or something. I don't know. I was, but he didn't do anything. He just did his job and went on about his business. And he's feuding with Bullet Club Gold. So I got to give those guys are the adults in this situation, and CM Punk is acting like the child. He's the one that started all this. He started Brawl Out. He started the stuff with Colt Cabana, and he started this this thing, and it's just leading to more and more news and rumors coming out. And apparently there's more. Apparently he also got into it with Jack Perry, Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Jack Perry was supposed to be backstage at Collision, and he was supposed to use legitimate glass in a wrestling match, and Punk confronted him and said that no, we don't do that here on Collision. We don't do that kind of ilk on Collision. I think that was the exact term that was used, and said you can get away with that on Dynamite. And Jack Perry and him had words, and CM Punk's camp tried to spin it as that Jack Perry had a temper tantrum because he didn't get his way. Now, is using legitimate glass in a segment, like you're trying to kill yourself. Like, what are you doing?
No, you use fake glass, candy glass, like in the movies,
But apparently he wanted to use legit glass, according to reports, and it was, CM Punk was upset because he was just trying to use it as a way to not come to work the following week or something, to write himself off TV. And Punk didn't like that. He feels like that's a lazy attitude to have, and it's like, but you were gone for 7 years. Like, shut up about, like you were gone for 7 years and you want to come back and talk to people about laziness and like, let's not, no. Yeah. So I'm not feeling this. And I don't even like talking about it. Yeah. Because it's all speculation.
We're going to keep doing it. Yeah.
We're there, but I feel like we have to talk about it at the same time.
And long story short, man, like I always say, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart had the most heated probably relationship in wrestling of all time, if not one of the tops. And they were always able to put it aside to wrestle and have a banger. Yeah. People need to grow up. This is a business. And with All Out and All In coming up, I don't think we're done with this. So we shall see next week. So
apparently they had to be at Forbidden Door when they were all together. They were on opposite sides of the locker room. They have to be kept separately. So what are they going to do at All In? Are they going to do the same thing? And Tony Khan, like you want to yell at I joked about this before we got on here, but you want to yell at MJF and Adam Cole about double clotheslining randoms, which, like, okay, that was a funny moment in that promo. Do that to CM Punk, like in real life. Like, pull him into your office and yell at him the way that you yelled at. Did you see the look on MJF's and Adam Cole? It's like they look legitimately shocked. So do that to CM Punk and show him who's in charge, show him who's boss. But I don't know. He's got to do something, because you can't have the head of talent relations in the locker room with your talent. It makes no sense.
And AEW will thrive without him. They have before, and they might even get better. So
they've been fine without him, and they were fine for 2.5 years without him.
Yeah, I agree. Move on. But anyway, that's it, man. That's AEW. Sorry to end it on such a sour note when they didn't have the worst week ever, but it is what it is. Yeah. As always,
one person did it to themselves. So
always, they keep it as busy. So as always, Two Dudes Wolfpack, keep following us, keep listening to us, keep commenting, keep liking us, keep doing whatever you're doing. We're blowing up on YouTube. We appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in to another AEW episode. Next week, we're going back to daytime. We didn't say that, so we're going to go back to our normal times, which we were beforehand. So Wednesdays and Fridays in the day instead of at night. So we're back to our normal times, live Wednesday and Friday. So don't forget to tune in on that. It's going to be like 1 o'clock Eastern time-ish, around that time.
Yep.
10 a.m. West Coast. So Pacific time. So tune into that. As always, I'm the dude of Wrestle Talk, Mr. MWO. And with me, as always, is
the honorary dude, Shooting Star Press. Hit us up on all of our socials, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, like he said, Apple and Spotify. We have an email address, so if you agree with us, if you disagree with us, if you want to give your thoughts on the CM Punk segment, whatever, CM Punk and all the drama, All In, All Out, whatever you heard that you liked or something that we didn't talk about, we want to hear from you. And the email address is 2dudeswithattitudespodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's 2 Dudes with Attitudes podcast at gmail.com. Go hit us all up and follow, and subscribe.
Let's go. Thank you. We'll see you next week, y'all.
Dudes with the attitudes, let's go. On the Friday, you know what it is, man. They came to handle biz. 2 dudes with attitudes, and they came to get it in. If you want to hear it all, yeah, you in the right.